Hey, it's Patrick, and today I'm going to show you how to install a Sawicki Speed, a mid-length 2-into-1 pipe on this 2020 Milwaukee 8-Power Road Glide behind me. Now, Sawicki Speed has a mid-length version of this pipe, a short version, and a full-length version. For the short and the mid-length like we're using today, this is going to be virtually the same install, and on any Milwaukee 8 powered bagger, it's going to be the same also. Now, according to Sawicki Speed, we should pick up around 10 horsepower, around 12 foot-pounds of torque, but that's not just with the pipe. You need to pair that with a high flow intake of some sort and with a tuner. If you're gonna spend the money on this nice exhaust, get the most out of it. Include that air cleaner, include that tuner, and it will run like it's supposed to. The other awesome thing we're gonna get is we're gonna get a bunch of weight savings, which obviously it's a bagger, it's a big heavy bike, but any kind of weight savings we can get is gonna be great. This new exhaust comes in around 17 pounds. The old stock exhaust is a massive whopping 40 pounds. So we're gonna save some weight. This thing's gonna look really cool. It's stainless with a black tip. It's gonna run really great, and it's going to sound awesome. So all of these tools we're gonna use today we'll leave in the description down below. This is totally something you can do in your garage. You don't even need a lift. You could do this on the floor. But there's a few things we need off of our old stock exhaust. So let's grab some tools and get to work. We need to pull these collars off, and what's holding them on is these clips right here. You can take a screwdriver and put it underneath there. It's a good way to stab yourself in the hand. Or if you take a set of snap ring pliers, you can put it here and stretch those right over the top of that part of the pipe right there. The other thing we need off these pipes are these O2 sensors. It's going to be a 14 millimeter. These can get a little kind of seized in there from the factory, so just be careful with them. Also, you notice one is longer than the other one. One is a gray plug and a black plug. And when we go to plug those in, they'll be color coded to the plugs. But just know we need to put the short one on the rear pipe when we put it in the new pipe, and the long one on the front pipe. Now I have to install this bracket right here on the end of our transmission. We're gonna need a 1/4 inch Allen. We're gonna pull these two bottom bolts out. We're gonna run them in these holes, but we're not gonna tighten them up just yet because we need to get our exhaust straightened out. And this bracket goes up here just like this. So we need to replace our exhaust gaskets. You're just gonna reach up there with a pick and pull these out. It may be kind of tight at first, and you are gonna tear it up. So you're gonna need some new ones. When you put the new ones in, be real careful. You want that to be real clean when you put it in there so these don't like wrinkle on the way in. And these are tapered. This is the narrow side, which you want facing out. There is a thicker side, you can see how it's thicker right there, and that needs to go in. So this narrow side goes out, thick side goes in. Sweet. So we're gonna put our O2 sensors in. And this pipe is actually set up to run either or, to run widebands or the stock sensors. So it comes with this little bushing here. So we're going to take this bushing, since we're using our stock O2 sensors, we're gonna put this bushing in. We'll take a 7/8 and tighten this bushing up. Then we'll take, since this is our front head pipe, we're gonna put our longer O2 sensor on there. This is the gray plug. We'll tighten it up with a 14 millimeter. So now we need to take our old flanges off our old pipe and put them on our new headers. Doesn't matter front or rear. What matters is this little groove right here. When you put this on, you want the flat part to go down. Then we're gonna take our snap ring pliers, we're gonna open this up and put this on so this cannot slide off there. Then we're gonna do everything we did to this front pipe, we're gonna do to the rear pipe. It's just that easy. So now we're ready to install both of our header pipes. We're gonna do the front one first, then we do the rear one. So we're gonna reuse our old flange nuts, and we're just gonna snug them up or even finger tight. Don't tighten these up yet. Those are started. So now we're going to get our collector and our muffler, and we're gonna test fit some stuff. We're gonna slide this on these two header pipes that we left loose. What we're looking for, we also left this transmission bracket a little bit loose. We're gonna slide all this on, make sure this pipe is on there all the way. We're not putting the springs on yet. We wanna push this pipe on there all the way so your header tubes are bottoming out right here. What we're looking for is to line this bracket up here with the bracket on the back of our muffler. Once these holes are lined up with this slot, we're good to go. We're gonna take our muffler back off and we're gonna torque these two brackets on the bottom of the transmission to 20 to 25 foot-pounds. The reason we're doing it like that is because if we put our muffler on, we're gonna bury these two bolts and you wouldn't be able to get to them. So we're gonna slide our pipe on, make sure it's seated, make sure our transmission bracket lines up, torque our bolts 20 to 25 foot-pounds. So now we're gonna start to install our muffler. First thing we're gonna do is they send this pretty trick bracket here. The old muffler was held on back here by the bag bracket, a little rubber piece and a little chrome bracket. We're gonna pull that out. We're gonna slide this in there. This only goes in there one way, so that's just gonna slide in there. We put our muffler on. We're gonna take our springs that they sent and this really trick little tool. We're gonna pull those springs on to our pipe. So here's the two little bolts and lock washers that came out of our stock muffler. We're gonna reuse those, drop those through our new fancy bracket, and tighten them up. So now I'm gonna take this little dog bone with the welded nuts. We're gonna slide that in to that bracket that's on the back side of that pipe that should now be pressed right up against the bracket coming off the transmission. You wanna make sure you put the bolt side back, the flat side forward, because these 5/16 bolts, we're gonna feed through that transmission bracket into this dog bone that's inside the bracket of the muffler. We'll get those tightened up with our 1/2-inch wrench. Then we're gonna go back to our header pipes. We're gonna tighten those nuts on the flange down and torque them to 20 foot-pounds. Before we can start this up, we gotta wrap up a few things. Our O2 sensors, we need to run them along the frame, zip time in a couple spots, bring them up here under the side panel and plug them in right here. Like I said, they're color coordinated, so you have a black one and a gray one, go to the corresponding plug. The other thing we need to do, you probably had to take your floorboard off to get all this done. We're gonna reinstall our floorboard, and then, this is important, before you start this up, wipe it down. Because all of our fingerprints that we have all over this beautiful stainless, when you put heat into this pipe, it'll take the oil from your hand and it'll stain that pipe. So we wanna clean this thing up before we start it. Also, this pipe is stainless, so as heat starts to go through it, it's gonna change color. It's actually gonna look really cool. So we're all wrapped up. Our bike makes more power, it sounds better, and it looks better. This isn't a very tough install. I wouldn't call it easy, but it's definitely not hard. You can do this in your garage with hand tools. I would say realistically give yourself a couple of hours. If you're still looking for more information, go ahead and hit that info tab on your desktop or mobile device. That'll take you to the product detail page where you can read other riders' reviews and more specs about these Sawicki pipes. If you're still looking for more information, feel free to reach out to our customer service team. They would love to talk to you about what works best for you, your motorcycle, and your budget. I am Patrick. Thank you for watching. Now go work on those motorcycles.